Every fall across the United States, roughly 1.2 million teenagers play high school football. In the glare of the Friday night lights, they make hard tackles and compete for pigskin glory. But along with all those hard hits, there is, for some, a price to pay. Recent studies indicate nearly 50% of all high school football players have suffered a concussion, and 35% have had more than one.
If you hit your head and you lose consciousness, that's a concussion. If you hit your head and you're confused, that's a concussion. Multiple concussions can lead to decreased mental faculties, where you have problems with visual spatial skills or verbal skills or memory. Short-term memory loss is very common.
Many high school players seem not to understand the dangers posed by concussions. They often hide their head injuries from their coaches and parents because they don't want to sit out games, appear weak, or let down their teammates. But suffering multiple concussions can be especially dangerous for teenagers. Studies show their brains are less developed than adults and more easily damaged.
I'd vomit sometimes. I would kind of hide it from coaches. If coaches saw me vomiting, they'd say, "No, Kort, you can't go back in." So I'd hide it from them because I wanted to play that bad.
Now 19 years old, Kort Breckenridge was once an all-star athlete at Teton High School in Driggs, Idaho. Along with wrestling and playing baseball, Kort was a fiery co-captain of his football team.
Well, it was a great experience. Everybody looked up to you and counted on you.
He's always been a natural athlete. Anything he ever touched or tried just came natural to him, and he just would excel at no matter what he did, whether it was playing baseball, whether it was basketball, wrestling, he wrestled as a young kid, or playing football.
By Kort's senior year, his full-throttle playing style led him to suffer multiple concussions. He hid the effects of most of them, keeping his coach and father in the dark. But towards the end of his final football season, Ray began to suspect something was wrong with his son. A trained surgical nurse, Ray grew concerned with Kort's sudden mood swings and frequent eye rubbing, both side effects of concussion.
You know, I had concerns, and I thought maybe he was not telling me the whole truth, but Kort has always been very truthful with me, so I believed what he was saying to me and saying, "No, Dad, I feel great. I feel good. I'm good to go."
On October 7th, 2005, Kort was playing both offense and defense in the final game of the regular season. He made an impressive interception and was playing well when suddenly, while making what looked like a routine tackle, something went terribly wrong.
They ran a kind of a sweep to the outside, and Kort came up and made it a tackle, and it seemed like a really benign tackle. He didn't lead with his head. He didn't really have any helmet-to-helmet contact. He tackled the kid, got up, and appeared to be a little bit disoriented.
And Kort started back onto the field at one point, and the coach hollered at him and says, "Hey, Kort, come over here. You're sitting this one out." Kort waved back, and he says, "No, Coach." He says, I'm good. I'm all right. Coach said, "No, Kort," and pulls him out of the game. And so I had a big sigh of relief, says, "Okay, good move, Coach. That was the thing to do." Pull him out. And the next thing I know is I hear one of the coaches screaming my name.
He was on the sideline, and then next thing you know, he lost consciousness, and it was a bad deal.
We pulled his helmet off of him, and there's just nobody home. His eyes were completely flat. There was absolutely nobody there. And I hollered at somebody. I says, "Get me a flashlight." And they shined the flashlight into Kort's eyes, and his left eye was already starting to grow bigger. The pupil in it was starting to grow bigger. And that said to me, "We've got some serious brain injury going on here. This is not good."
Kort was rushed to nearby Teton Valley Hospital and was met by Dr. Horrocks.
We stabilized him, intubated him, sedated him so that he didn't fight the intubation, and then essentially called the local facility that was able to handle his head injury.
They got life flight in the air. They were flying in from Idaho Falls. It's about a 20-minute flight for them to get here. And I look over, and Kort's now both pupils are blown. So both eyes are blown and not reacting to light, not responding. He won't respond to pain. He won't respond to my voice. And I figured he was going to die right there.
Kort was flown to Eastern Idaho Regional Medical Center. He was diagnosed with second impact syndrome, the name of a relatively rare but potentially fatal chain of metabolic events brought on by multiple concussions.
He had had a concussion probably a month prior to this most serious injury. It's theorized that with a minor blow, it can be just a very limited hit on the helmet, a hit on the head, nothing really serious from what other people are observing, but the brain loses its ability to auto-regulate its own blood supply, and thereby it starts to swell from a simple tap on the head.
Doctors had to operate on Kort's brain to relieve the swelling.
They removed the entire right hemisphere of his skull. And as soon as they did that, the brain just bulged out. It was just in there, just crying.
Kort remained in a medically induced coma for about 3 weeks, and his hospital stay lasted 3 months. Today, Kort lives with his father and siblings on their Idaho ranch in Teton Valley, located on the western edge of the Grand Teton Mountains.
What's your nickname?
Crackhead?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Kort's my little crackhead. We were jousting one day, and he says to me, he says, "Dad, what's wrong with you? You been smoking crack, you crackhead?" And I said, "No way, man." I said, "Kort, you're my crackhead." And he points to his head and he goes, "Yeah, I'm the crackhead, all right."
The long-term prognosis for Kort doesn't suggest a change from his current condition. He moves slowly with a slight limp. He tires very easily and lacks physical stamina. His short-term memory is virtually non-existent.
Too much rain. Give her some slack. If I can get him to remember something for an hour, that's a victory for me now. He has good days and bad days, just like you or I, only his are exacerbated or they're more pronounced. So when he has a bad day, it's really bad, and he's just flat, and it just nothing works. It's still very frustrating for him. You know, he was very, I'm out doing my own thing, leave me alone and let me do my own thing in this world, and now he's kind of got to have somebody there with him to help guide him, and I think that's a little frustrating for him. What do you think?
Oh, yeah.
You get sad about us talking about you like this, Kort?
No.
You get mad? Do you ever regret having played football? I mean, do you look back on it and...
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you think if you had to do it all over again, you would change something?
I'd still play football.
Okay. I figured you would.
I just play it more safely. You know, even if you get a light knock on the head, like just a buzz, I wouldn't go back in the game.
You coming, bud?
Yeah, I'm coming.
Huh?
Yeah, I'm
It's
coming.
Christmas. Your grandma's slow, but she's old. What's your deal?
Whoa.
Huh?
Boy, I can barely walk.